Okay, so you probably clicked on this video because you're having a lot of input delay on your controller. Well, you came to the right place. What's up, guys? My name's XxTuzeehxX, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 5 main tips on how to reduce your input delay. Now, I'm not going to get into too much of your time, so let's get into it. Okay, starting with number 1, guys, what I'm going to show you is a list of certain controllers that you may be using that could officially be lowered or highered based off on the input delay. Now, what I want to start off with before I get into any of this to make sure you understand, input delay is basically the amount of input it takes or the amount of time it takes to click a certain button. This could apply to triggers, bumpers, or even buttons on your controller. So I just want to make sure that's stepped up. Make sure that, the most important thing about this is that it's lowered. So keep that in mind in this video, because lower means better, higher means worse. So keep that in mind. So basically, as I'm showing you on this list, there are a few controllers that you might be possibly using. So make sure you keep that in mind. Based off what's higher and what's lower, you may have to either switch your controller, or if it's lower or it's at a good input delay that you would probably prefer, then keep the controller that you want. Now, this all depends on what you want to do, not what I want to do. This is up to you. So for me, what I'm using is a DualShock Ps4 wired controller. Now, it's not basically wired, but basically what I do for each game now is basically, which comes to number 2, use a wired connection, guys. Wired means better, and reason why I say this is because Ethernet cables, they offer a wired connection, which means a lot better, making your internet just send the signal to you. The same thing would apply for a controller, sending the wired input delay up to the controller. So basically, you can plug this in. Basically, what I'm showing you in this clip, that's the number 2 spot. You are basically going to plug in what you have into an extension cord or even an outlet or AC outlet. It doesn't matter. As long as it's plugged into the controller and it's at least long enough for you to still have that good stance that you want, along with a good gripping method, then that's pretty much all that matters. So I just want to let you guys know to keep that in mind. And that's number 2. Okay, guys, so getting into number 3, basically, you may be having too many things connected on your Bluetooth system. Now, what I mean by this is that you could be probably having multiple devices connected to your system. Now, basically, if you only have your controller as one, then basically you have so much lowered input delay. But also keep this in mind, guys, your controller varies on your input delay. So if there is something that you want lowered, such as the input delay, you're going to have to buy a new controller. Now, there are other ways to do it, but it would probably require things like jailbreaking or even other things that would probably require things mostly on PC. But we are talking about mobile here, because mobile has the majority of disadvantages in terms of input delay. But it mainly depends on your device. Okay, moving on to number 4, guys. So basically, I want to explain this a little in depth. There may be a few settings that is interrupting your Bluetooth connection. And there could be a few things such as background app refresh. Other apps using Bluetooth, you may want to turn that off. Since we're only relying on Minecraft for this specific type of tutorial, because this is what my channel is based off on, you would basically want to keep Minecraft as the only thing using Bluetooth. If you have any of those settings, I recommend just having Bluetooth be used for Minecraft to improve your input delay and to help your performance be better than ever. Now for my last and final tip, some of you may not find this compromisable, or should I say easier to deal with, but basically improving your internet connection will not just lower your ping, which is the signal or how long it takes to give the signal, your internet connection, to the server, which is the Hive, depending on your region. But basically, guys, improving your internet connection won't just improve your performance in the game. If it's supposed to increase your performance, then obviously it's supposed to increase your gameplay with the controller as well. Actually doing this will improve your internet connection, not just, and it will actually lower your input delay more than you think on your controller. Your controller is something that needs to be used in the game, so obviously it can't operate as well if it does not have good performance as your internet connection. So basically, guys, I'm gonna give you a few tips on how to do this in case you're wondering why. But first thing what I would start off with is basically trying to get to an Ethernet connection. Now, this may be difficult in most cases because we all, or most of us, don't get to use the internet, or should I say Ethernet, because basically, you know, our parents and stuff rule over the house and stuff. Yeah, I personally get where you're coming from, but you can make the time to actually try it out and see how it feels. But basically, the only requirements are a LAN cable, an adapter for your phone or your iPad, and then you just need to connect the end or the other side of the LAN cable to your router. Now the other side, not for the router, but the other side of the LAN cable goes into the adapter as a port. So basically, for iOS users, you can look up what I used in my last video, which was for the keyboard and mouse video, the Lightning to USB 3 camera adapter that has it. And then basically, for what you put up in there, you're basically going to get a LAN cable adapter. So basically, it's going to have a USB port. You're going to plug that in, and then basically the adapter behind it, or at the other end, is supposed to have an adapter port for the LAN cable. So basically, try that out and see what happens, guys. Okay, next tip I'm going to give you, this still applies for the 5th tip in case you're still looking for more tips that might be able to help you out. Now, in some other cases, you can actually improve your performance by reducing the number of people using the internet. Now, as I was saying earlier, if your internet connection is very precise and accurate, that means it means better performance along with your controller input. But basically, you could actually do this by reducing the number of people using the internet. Too many signals coming at once can ruin your connection, and by you being the only one using it most of the time, or the number of people is being reduced, you'll actually have better performance than you think. So basically, you know, this could help for some people, or for example, whenever your parents are going out or something, or they're doing something, you know, for themselves, you could take advantage of using the internet for yourselves, or connect to a different internet. In some other cases, for me, I have 2 internet routers, one by my room and the other one over by the kitchen. Now basically, this is supposed to help me and my family, but you know, the majority is on my side, which is my internet router. Now my brother has it all to himself. But at the end of the day, guys, it's still ways to improve your internet. So let's get into it. Okay, my last and final suggestion for improving your internet to help your input delay is basically finding DNS servers. Now, DNS servers, you may be saying, well, this will give me being on the Hive. No, it won't. If you're talking about VPN, that's a good possibility, but we're talking about DNS servers. VPNs and DNS servers are 2 different things. Now, depending on what you want to do, you can either connect to the 1.1.1.1, or should I say Cloudflare DNS, which is, I would say, mainly for Europe. Now, for the Google DNS, this is the majority of American users that can use this, because obviously the majority of the world in America uses Google DNS. But yeah, guys, you can actually use this for Europe, or even, you know, on the other side or overseas, you can use the Cloudflare DNS. Freak, I can't talk. That's why I'm going back to school tomorrow, guys. It sucks, but yeah. So basically, how to set this up, you can go to your Wi-Fi settings. That's the first thing. And then you should see DNS servers. This should already be set to automatic, what you want to do is click on it and press manual. Now I'm gonna give you the two DNS server ports. So we're going to start with Cloudflare DNS. So first thing you're going to want to type in for the first slot is 1.1.1.1. The next slot is 1.0.0.1. And then you're pretty much finished. All you have to do is save it. Same thing would apply for the Google DNS. Now what's the DNS port for the Google DNS? First one is 8.8.8.8. That's 4 8s. Then for the second slide, it's 8.8.4.4. That's the second slide. So basically you're pretty much done. You save it for either one that you're using. Keep that in mind, guys, and basically you're all set. And I hope this improves your input delay.